Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a Born Again original. This time we're going to be getting into Levi Sabbatai and the beginning of the Illuminati and just some people that aren't normally talked about. I feel like, Aleister Crowley is hyper focused on, okay? And I feel like it's for a reason. I feel like it's possibly set up. Um, I know I know that like the do what thou wilt age does seem like it could be the possible end times age, but we're looking more into you know Israel and what they expect from Messiah and how Satan wants to like try to be God. The more I think it's going to be different. I think that it's going to come from straight from Israel, and it's going to be someone who's a Jew who can appeal to everyone type deal. Like it's taking out the pagans, because we know that the New World Order, they're all founded by the former Canaanite bloodlines and the Phoenicians and all that, like the former enemies of Israel. So when you know that and you know that the end times Messiah or Antichrist is going to end up being someone who the Jews accept as a savior and as their Messiah, the more I understand that it's going to be more of a maybe a royal family from Israel being reestablished and fighting against the New World Order and their plans. And then eventually the whole world wonders after Israel and whoever their king is. Um, just a very interesting theory that was brought to my attention. Like I just thought of it when I was reading that Messiah article yesterday on the video I did. I thought of that and I was like, oh wow, that's a very good representation because, Aleister Crowley was very upfront with who he called himself and who he wanted to be, and they sew it into media and stuff so much that you have to wonder, are they just like gaslighting us into believing that that could be the end times goal? You know what I mean? Like we go from having no rules to being under rules under rulership and following Judaism, which is a false religion, or maybe they make it all one religion. I know there's plans for the one religion at the Temple Mount, like um, the three temples in one place. Like I'll show you guys. So in Abu Dhabi, this is the mosque for the synagogue and the church being built together. So that's what they want. They want a one world religion that combines those religions, but at the same time, it makes you wonder if like it's just like Judaism and Kabbalah taking over the world, and that rather than the Antichrist coming as like a dictator and an evil person right away. But yeah, either way, I thought it was very interesting. Just an interesting, connotation, connection to make. So we see Sabbatai Zevi. This guy is a, mystic. He arrived in Constantinople in 1666. He was someone who almost destroyed Judaism, I believe. Going down. He called himself the Messiah. Claims to being the expected Jewish Messiah. Said he came in 1666 is when he arrived in like the main place, like the main Temple Mount, or the main place he was supposed to be. He started to pronounce the Tetragrammaton, an act which Judaism prohibited to all but the high priest of Israel and the temple of Jerusalem of Yom Kippur. For scholars acquainted with rabbinical and Kabbalistic literature, this act was highly, therefore, symbolic. Sabbatai also claimed that he could fly, but he told his followers that he couldn't do so in public because they were not worthy enough to witness such a sight. He also claimed to have visions of God. Sabbatai claimed being the Messiah very early on. You know, he did all this. And then we're going to keep going down. He befriended the Joseph Halaby of Aleppo, a wealthy and influential Jew in the high position. Keep going down. So my big thing about his significance is his influence of Jacob Frank, I believe. David. Excitement to which the government had to intervene. While at Saleh, the emir ordered persecution of the Jews during this period. Sabbatai declared the fast of 17 of Tammuz and the 9th of Av, his birthday, would be feast days. So, okay. So he proclaimed those as feast days for himself, maybe? Converting the Day of Atonement to one celebration. And then he converted to Islam, which is a false religion. You know that he didn't want to keep his religion. On the following day, September 16th, 1666, the key number is 666. He appeared before the Sultan to cast off his Jewish garb and put on a Turkish turban on his head. So we see that basically he was a false messiah. He claimed to be the messiah. He actually had a large following. Okay, so that's very interesting. But we're going to look at his connection. One of his main students or main people that he taught was Jacob Frank, who was one of the founders of the Illuminati. So he himself actually claimed to be the Messiah. He claimed to be a reincarnation, and also of the biblical patriarch Jacob. So he thought he was the Messiah as well. Historical background. Let's keep going down. Jewish laws and customs. He received revelations from heaven. Down, notable Sabbatai teachers. Jacob Frank. One sec, we're gonna look up the Illuminati connection here. So Adam Weishaupt is the guy who was one of his students here. We see that he was the foundation of the Illuminati, which are the illuminated ones, someone who have secrets, someone who knows, who's able to like push society in the next direction because they think they're God, all that type thing. So foundation of the Illuminati. At the time, however, when there was no end of making game of abusing secret societies, I plan to make use of this human foible for real and a worthy goal for the benefit of people I wish to do what the heads of the ecclesiastical secular authorities ought to have done by the virtue of their officers. So we keep going down. He was initiated into a Masonic lodge. Used Freemasonry to recruit for his own quasi-Freemasonic Freemasonic society. So this man was also involved in the Illuminati. Right, go back. We got enlightenment here. Activities in exile. Go. So my biggest thing is with like Freemasonry and all that and the secret societies and stuff. Maybe Jacob Frank gave them the possible goal of going off and creating a false darkness or a society that is founded by pagans and built on pagan ideals and all that, so that in the end, near the end, there can be a false light that's going to be able to prevail over the powers of darkness, which would be like those controlled by the Canaanite bloodline, such as America and, the New World Order and all that, to gain trust for their false Jewish Messiah that is still to come, obviously. It makes you wonder because they love to play both sides. They love to play the good and the dark side. So it makes a lot of sense, especially when you make it like Crowley was so out there with the stuff. He was so like out there saying that he would bring upon the death of Christianity and other things like that, which I thought was very interesting. So I have one more connection for you guys, and then we'll end it off there. So this was another person who was involved with the Illuminati. His name is Mayer Amschel Rothschild. So he was the founder of the Jewish Rothschild banking dynasty. Keep going down. Rothschild family home, the Rothschild dynasty. Keep going down. So either way, we know these people are very powerful and they're very much wanting to set up for the false Messiah. And these people some are false Jews, some are actual Jewish bloodlines that go back to the time of David. So, very interesting. But in my opinion, in the end times, we will see because the whole world was ruled by those bloodlines, the ones that come from, like I said, the Canaanites and, the pagan bloodlines that the Israel was fighting in the Old Testament. It makes it seem like there's going to be a part 2 of that. If the Messiah of Israel comes to and starts making war on earth because he believes all the other pagan nations are not worthy, it could be like the same idea as like a Exodus when we went to the promised land. Like, how the Jews are promised the whole world, they're gonna go off and conquer the whole promised land again, but they're just waiting upon their Messiah. Just a very interesting connection there. And their Messiah would obviously be the Antichrist. So, from the purpose of this video is basically to show the connections that Aleister Crowley is not the only person in history that is like claimed to be these things or has done a bunch of evil stuff. Like, I feel like he's honestly a distraction from like the true goal of these end time families and end time goals, right? We're going to see a lot of really darkness, like really darkness before we see the false light. So be prepared for things to get really bad before they get slightly good again with like a false savior. But if you don't accept that false savior, it's going to get absolutely horrible for you again. You're going to die. So either way, interesting stuff. My advice would be just stay away from like the people who focus on this stuff solely. Stay away from channels that are just always talking about Aleister Crowley and stuff because it gets kind of redundant at that point. There's more to everything. You can't figure it all out in one shot, okay? So don't get stuck on thinking it's going to go one way when it's going to go a completely different way. We shouldn't give these pagan um, pagan beliefs any power by saying, "Oh, the eclipse means this. Oh, the eclipse means that." Um, I don't know. It's just one of those things. We just gotta trust our God in heaven, like trust Jesus. So just focus on your daily life and remember to love your neighbor, and that is all you can really do. And bye for now.